Who cares about Lou?
I care about Lou.
I don't care about Lou anymore.
I don't care about Lou.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne New, Greg Narlow, and Lou Maddox.
All right. I hear it in the background. I got the freaking YouTube volume on too. Jesus, God damn. Man, I need to get a new intro. Two of those guys are barely ever here.
I'm barely on here.
I know, but you're on here more than they are.
Well, I don't want to be a goddamn Muppet or whatever.
You're gonna be a Muppet.
Horrible. I look horrible enough as it is, let alone as one of those guys.
It is true.
All right, you didn't have to agree with me so readily.
I'm sorry. I'm only kidding.
I'm all good, dude.
All
my God, you got the special edition of that.
I did. Today we're gonna do Alice Cooper, The Revenge of Alice Cooper, the new album, which features the original band, except for, of course, Glenn Buxton. But yeah, I did get the vinyl, and I wasn't gonna get this, but remember Ralph? I think you were on the show. Ralph told us this was on sale on Amazon. It was like for $18 or something.
It was $18 pre-sale. Yeah.
Really, I bought it for like 30 or whatever it was.
You missed out. And then I got the box set too. So I thought the box set was cool. It comes with a T-shirt and a vinyl that comes with 2 extra songs. I haven't listened to it yet, but they're re-recordings of the song "Return of the Spiders" and "Titanic Over Underture." So I haven't.
By the way, I discovered listening to the CD again today closer that those songs are the unlisted bonus tracks at the end of the album, which are re-recordings of the I think from Easy Action and Prettiest for You, but we'll talk about it more.
What did I just say?
Well, I know that, dude, but I'm just saying that the CD, the regular CD, has those songs on it.
It really does? Because people are asking, like, how did I get that song? All right.
Yeah, they're not listed on there. The vinyl, as you know, it comes with a 7-inch single, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about it some more. Stan, you better say nice things about Alice. The band and the man.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
The band and the man. All right.
Well, Catman's already in the chat, and we have Andy here again with us. Welcome, Andy.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for asking me to be on here. This is cool.
No problem.
You're welcome.
Text,
looks like you got a new haircut and a little shave there.
Yeah. I finally got rid of the I guess ZZ Top white beard, I guess. I don't know.
But Andy, I got a haircut.
That's what's hot here in Houston.
Andy, one time I got a haircut. It was the worst mistake ever.
Did it hurt?
The only reason I got it is because of this girl. I won't mention her name, but she was a hairdresser. The things I'll do for fun. Anyway.
How short did you cut it?
The things you do for love.
I did it for love. I did it for the nookie. To quote that Limp Bizkit.
How short did you cut it?
Not too short. I only told her to just a dead end. She's like, okay.
Have you ever had short hair?
Yeah, when I was about 14. But that was the last time. And then she didn't want to see me anymore because I had no money. I go, even if I had money, why would I give you any? Oh, fuck you.
I spent it on the haircut.
Yeah. I gave you a tip.
How much?
Let's see. Yeah. And Al, you need to you need to text Andy Al and tell him his metal creed's on the line. He needs to come on to talk about the Coop.
He's going to be here for the next show because after this show, we're going to be on again at 9:00 to talk about Van Halen, Women and Children First, and Fair Warning. So that'll be a fun show. But now we're going to talk about the Alice Cooper, The Revenge of Alice Cooper. This came out, like 2 weeks ago? I believe.
Yeah, about there.
Yeah.
About that, right?
Yep.
Something like that.
And the last album, Rhodes, it really wasn't that good. It was like a couple songs in there, so I was really anticipating to listen to the Revenge of Alice Cooper because all the original guys are back in there, and it does have that original vibe from those early albums, and it actually sounds like what would have been the next album after Muscle of
Muscle of
Love.
Love. I
Yeah.
agree with you. We'll talk about that some more.
Yeah, it kind of just like fits right in there. So it's pretty good. I'm just weird to me that like because I'm in a couple Alice Cooper groups on Facebook, and a lot of the people in there don't like this, and I don't know why because it sounds like Alice Cooper band to me.
They're lying.
Yeah, they're lying because I actually like Road a little bit more than you did, but I will say that the last two solo Alice Cooper, because we got to make a distinction,
Right?
solo albums are good, but they were interchangeable to me. Detroit Cities and that.
Right.
I wasn't impressed with the production, which is a first for me because I like Bob Ezrin. And I think the songs are good, but they sound like songs that Alice and his co-writers could have written in their sleep. They're not bad.
Right.
If the name Alice Cooper wasn't on it, I might have praised those two albums to the rooftop. But from Alice, I deserve a lot more. I expect a lot more than Road and Detroit Cities or Detroit Stories. Excuse me.
Stories,
yeah.
Definitely. Well, Andy, you're a guest on the show, so what do you think of The Revenge of Alice Cooper?
Oh, The Revenge of Alice Cooper. I have been singing the praises of this album since it came out. I thought it was fantastic. The last few albums that he's done, I do admit that he's had about 4 good songs, and then the rest are just songs that you don't pay that much attention to. But this album, you pay attention to almost every single track on this album. And it's all written by the band. There's no outside writers. I think that's what might hinder a lot of the Cooper albums in the 80s and 90s were outside writers.
Right.
This, like you had mentioned, Wayne, it's classic and new at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how they got that feel, that 1970s feel, and made it sound 2025. It's a fantastic job. Yeah. And the more I hear it, more songs are popping out that I like. So kudos to Alice Cooper, really.
Yeah, it's especially the one song, "Kill the Flies." It's so weird that it's so catchy. It's just so awkward sounding, but it's really a catchy song, and it actually gets stuck in my head because it's so different from the rest of the album.
And the storytelling on that song kind of reminds me of Dwight Fry,
right?
That psychotic kind of storytelling about the effects of the mind, and this is subject matter that Alice Cooper hasn't really delved into for a very long time, and they're revisiting it, and it's great.
Yeah, definitely is. Stan.
Wayne. Okay, so a couple of things. I feel like the album's kind of bloated, in my opinion.
Too many songs.
And I think they could have like cut at least a couple. Like that crap that what is that song called?
Oh, that's
crap that gets in the way.
Yeah, of your dreams.
I mean, it's like the worst lyrics ever, but I don't know. That song's very forgetful. I like half of the album. Half of the album is pretty strong, and but having said that, like I feel like there's moments where like they tease greatness, but they don't quite get there. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like they just, I don't know. It's just the payoff rarely lands. There's moments that could have like blossomed into something, but it just doesn't really deliver, in my opinion. But the songs are pretty decent. Like I like Black Mamba, which is kind of like a spiritual cousin to Black Widow, because it's got like a similar vibe and stuff like that. And the yeah is a little redundant though. But Wild Ones is probably my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, I
It's
think
very
that's one of them,
catchy.
yeah.
It's very that's a really cool song. I love the way it starts. That nice guitar solo.
Mhm.
Um, Kill the Flies. You mentioned that one.
Yeah.
So you know that chorus just kills it, man. I don't know. I like everything about that song except that chorus. It's just so I don't know. It's so lazy almost. I mean, come
But
Oh,
it
on.
come
works.
on.
It works,
But
especially when
Stan,
he starts
that's true
acting
breath.
and
Yeah.
he puts his
It
voice,
it
changes his voice a little bit. And
it reminds me a lot of King Diamond
yeah,
because of
And what do you
that
think King
spooky
Diamond got?
atmosphere.
And who do you
Um,
think King Diamond was influenced by?
right.
Alice Cooper,
Of
of course.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, One Night Stand. I like that one. I like
That was an ode to Manny, by the way.
one of the cool things that about this album is hearing Alice kind of show like a different dimension to his voice.
Mhm.
On One Night Stand, you hear different angle of his voice and stuff like that. So
Well,
that's
that's
really
what he used to
cool.
do in the '70s. So he brought that back into
Well, it's
this.
been a while since I actually listened to those old
Well,
albums,
you
but
should only listen to those '70s.
yeah, I like Up All Night, which I think has probably like the heaviest riff on the album.
Mm.
Um,
I like that Up All Night too. It's like
yeah,
he
that's
brought back a little bit of sleaziness
Yeah.
that's missing in rock right now.
And I
Blood.
had to thank Alice for writing a song about me. And I said, Alice, you don't have to do that. But he insisted, and I said, thank you, Alice. All right, continue, Stan.
Blood on the Sun. That's a nice epic.
Yeah.
Um, it's got all this like tension, it's got drama, it's got scale. It's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I mean, it's like What Is Said kind of reminds me of like a Doors song mixed with The Last Man on Earth from one of his like previous albums. So it's got this like very weird vaudeville kind of
I
like
like the way I like the rhythm of his voice on there. It's pretty
yeah,
cool.
very
Yeah.
swingy. It's
Yeah.
it's a fun detour.
Yeah.
See You on the Other Side is a nice song, but it's not as memorable, in my opinion, as the ones I mentioned. I mean, these guys are older now, and it's like, and I don't think anybody expected them to sound as dangerous as they did in 1971.
I think a lot
But
of people did, and I think that's why some of them are disappointed. But like you said, they're in their '70s, and you can't expect them to have that mindset,
Not
And
only
yeah,
that,
it's true.
they're in their late 70s, and also in 71, they were in their 20s and broke. And
Right.
Yeah.
their late 70s, they're one of the few bands that have managed to hold on to their money,
Mm.
which is amazing because three of these guys haven't done anything major in decades. Matter of fact, Neil Smith made most of his money being a real estate guy for Hollywood guys.
right.
So
Yeah,
But
but
Dennis Dunaway's always been in something. He's with what's his name from Blue Oyster Cult?
yeah, that's true. But they play small venues, and again,
Yeah.
Dennis Dunaway can afford to do that because unlike real people, he doesn't have to worry about where his next check comes from. I'm not putting that down. I
No,
think that's admirable. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that
money screams. That's okay, but everything else is just I don't know, like what do you call it? Crap that gets in the way. Intergalactic Vagabond Blues. What happened to you? I mean, they could have just like done without those songs, honestly. And then it would have been a perfect album. But even then, like I said, like these guys are older and just it's that extra 10% that's missing.
Mm.
It's like I said, like all these songs are pretty decent, but they just lack a little bit of something that could have made them more special, in my opinion.
They
So
played it very safe on this.
they played it very safe, yeah. It's like they just they just didn't want to go off the rails a little bit.
Hmm.
I don't know, but yeah, it's a pretty decent album, So it's pretty amazing that Alice Cooper's still doing this. He's like 80 and he still sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it still sounds like Alice Cooper.
And
Yeah.
Bob Ezrin is probably like the unofficial member of the band because he's done like all those classic albums.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Listening to this, 'cause I've been listening to this, I don't know, for the past 2 weeks. I feel
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
that I wanted to mention the production is really good here.
Yeah.
it is.
Also,
It's pretty good.
very
At
very
first,
clean.
at first I didn't like the cleanness. It was too clean. I wanted more dirty sounding Alice Cooper, but it started growing on me afterwards. But I felt there's a lot of like almost a similarity to Welcome to My Nightmare 2 on here. I don't know if you guys kind of heard that at all.
Ooh, there was a
Mm,
couple of songs like that song, the one that Stan doesn't like, crap that gets in the way
Yeah.
yeah.
of your dreams. That was a little. I could see that somewhat being like that. There was another one on here. I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, I can't remember like specific songs, but I just remember there's some kind of like I don't know if it's just like the way where the song went or how the song went or whatever, but there's some similarities to the Welcome to My Nightmare 2. But they were on that album too, a couple of them.
Yeah, they were on a couple of tracks, but the
Yeah.
difference is Welcome to My Nightmare 2 was attempting a direct sequel to a classic album.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think that worked as well. I think if the songs individually worked as well as the concept, not so much. But if you listen to the original Welcome to My Nightmare, that is a very loose concept because you go from the, escape, and then you go to Only Women Bleed, which is about domestic abuse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't. I guess Alice being Alice, whether it's with the band or solo, even when they try to do a concept album, he loses interest midway through and just writes about whatever. So,
All
And the
right.
puzzles just don't fit.
Yeah. All right. What do you think about this album, Manny?
well, I like it a lot. The one thing I want to say is that Alice and these guys are 77, 78 years old, including Bob Ezrin. After the loss of Ozzy, we got to treasure that these guys not only still here, but creating music.
Right.
That being said, they don't get a free pass. And I'm glad, though I don't totally agree with Stan, I'm glad that Stan still holds Alice and the boys to the standard they should be held to. They don't get a pass just because they're older men. So, Stan, I do appreciate that about you. That being said, you're wrong. This album is cool. So, first of all, the one thing I did notice musically that I will agree with you, Wayne and Stan, that the band, since it is a band, played a little safe, meaning that these guys have known each other since high school, and that the fact that 50-something years after they've not made an album together, they can pick up where they left off. Because it does sound like more like Muscle of Love follow-up, because it's not as ambitious as Billion Dollar Babies or Killer Schools Out. That's for sure. Their epic songs on here that you guys pointed out are not as epic as Dead Babies or
Right.
Killer or Halo of Flies was. And it could be, too, that these guys, three of these guys haven't been on the road in forever. Alice does, but Alice writes different on his own with his co-writers, Sometimes he'll chase trends, sometimes he'll just do his own thing, but I am really shocked how cohesive this album sounded after so many years. I thought it'd be a train wreck, or I thought it would sound like cast-offs from Welcome to My Nightmare, Detroit Cities, where honestly the songs they play on, maybe because they didn't write them, aren't that great. They're not bad, but they're not, but on this album they really did outdid themselves. In Black Mamba, where they brought in Robbie Krieger, as you guys know, that Jim Morrison and Robbie Krieger were friends with the original band.
Yeah.
Alice and Glenn would drink with Jim, which explains why two of them are gone and one is still here. But that was cool. They brought him in. They do a cover of a Yardbirds song on here, "Ain't Done Wrong," which is a nod to the roots. By the way, here's an Alice Cooper story. When they were in the Spiders, they opened up for the Yardbirds, and they didn't know any songs by Yardbirds songs, so the Alice Cooper band did a whole set of Yardbirds songs, and then the Yardbirds did the same thing.
That's funny.
Yeah. But I think the production is great, and I think for guys that haven't played together this much, this is as good as it's going to get. I don't suspect we're going to get another album from the band ever again. If we do, it'll be bits and pieces where they're on a solo album from Alice, you know. But I think that this is great, and I like the fact that they brought Glenn Buxton on one track. I don't know what they found that tape in or how they shoehorned him in that song. They even gave him songwriting credit, you know. And Glenn's been gone since 1997. He died relatively young. He was only 50 when he died. So the other thing I noticed is Neil Smith used to be a monster drummer, plays more he doesn't do what he used to do. He plays more like a signature time, and you know,
he's more laid back a little bit.
Yeah.
Not so more aggressive like he used to be.
Yeah, he's definitely laid back, and he doesn't, you know. And of course, the secret recipe to the Alice Cooper band was Dennis Dunaway. He's still the secret sauce that band.
Yeah, definitely.
Wayne, your turn.
It is missing like a Schools Out,
right?
You know,
and that's what I was hoping there was going to be some kind of anthem song. But it's hard to write anthem songs, you know, and especially
when you're 85.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what could they possibly write, but it's missing a lot of that stuff like Stan said.
I'm 85.
Where's my Ben Gay?
85.
But
well, the thing about it too is that, you know what I like, what we didn't bring up. All right, everyone brings up Black Sabbath 13. I like it, but I don't love it. But the difference is that album, Rick Rubin tried to make them sound like Black Sabbath instead of just letting them do what their own thing. Because I think if Tony Iommi was feeling well and wasn't fighting cancer, we'd have a whole different album. It's my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah. But where Bob Ezrin didn't try to make them sound like Alice Cooper, they just sounded like Alice Cooper. They just sounded like the band, and that's what I like. You know, he didn't. There was no. You've got to write another Schools Out, because you're right. I don't think those guys could do it. They're not in the same mindset. You know.
Yeah, it's different now. But I did like the fact that they did write on their own. A lot of these songs are, you know, character songs. You know, writing about somebody else, and I think that's what gives it the special oomph. They're not writing about themselves. They're writing. Well, they can't write. I mean, no one wants to hear about themselves anymore, so they're making up characters, and I think that really helps the album.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, Wild Ones is probably the closest to being like an anthem or, you know, like a top notch single.
Yeah.
You know, it's got energy. It's got a solid groove, decent chorus. It doesn't feel like it's on autopilot or anything. You know, it's really cool. I love the lead guitar work on this song, especially.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, I do like this album. I think it's good. I'm probably not going to listen. It's not anywhere near the quality of the 70s albums or even the 80s or 90s stuff, really. But there are really good songs on here. I do enjoy it. And I really do like the first half of the album. You know, Black Mamba, Wild Ones, Up All Night, Kill the Flies, One Night Stand. Even Blood on the Sun. All that stuff that's like really good. Yeah, it does get a little like kind of, you know, too much on the second half of the album, but there's still good songs in there. I love that last song, See You on the Other Side. I think that's a really good ending to the album,
especially with Ozzy gone, and it just feels
yeah.
And that this album came out 3 days after he passed.
Yeah,
I think
so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it came out that Friday after that Tuesday.
Yeah. But it's a really good album. Sounds good. It's produced really well. You know, Bob Ezrin works with him for a long time now, so he knows what he's doing. And it's just really cool to hear the band back together. You know, and like I said in the beginning, it's just that next follow-up album to Muscle of Love. Muscle of Love wasn't like really a great album, so that's why this kind of like, you know, fits right in with that. It's not like the best Alice Cooper album, but it's better than Muscle of Love. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and I like Muscle of Love, but I agree with you. Matter of fact, it took me a long time to like Muscle of Love. I thought it was just, I hate to use the word basic, but there weren't any real, because I re-listened to it recently. There weren't really any real epics on Muscle of Love. I mean, you had your Alice Cooper sense of humor, you know, the title track, you know, I read those magazines like I did before. Lock the door in the bathroom now. I can't just get caught in here. And about the chick who's the queen of the. Anyway, Alice is Alice. And what's fun about him, and I keep saying him, it's a them, but I mean it's a him too because he's the voice, but
It's a they
he
them.
never, he doesn't take himself seriously ever.
Right.
Even when he was the big old boogie monster of rock and roll, back then, he just couldn't help but as the Brits would say, take a piss at himself. Even at his own image. Even in the 70s, he would do shit like the Muppet Show because he thought it was fun. He didn't take himself seriously.
Right. Yeah. And that's what's missing in a lot of today's music and stuff. Everybody takes themselves too seriously nowadays. But
yeah, but it's because everybody has an opinion, and everybody writes this, everybody writes that. It's really taking the fun aspect out of rock and roll.
yeah, actually that anything like that takes the fun out of anything.
Yeah, it does.
TV shows, movies. It's just
Well, we live in such a polarizing society that there's a reason I don't talk about politics on Facebook. Not because I don't have an opinion. It's just enough. We just, everybody is just, who's not thinking about us? The people in Washington. So they're not fighting. I'm on Team Wayne. I'm on Team Manny. They don't give a shit.
They don't know who we are. Although they might be subscribed to this channel, so be careful what you say.
Well, they should subscribe because we're talking about the great Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper.
I mean, yeah. So
Jimbo says Alice Cooper was self-deprecating.
Yes, absolutely. But if you think about it, those big rock personalities that we all love, Bon Scott didn't take himself seriously. David Lee Roth definitely didn't take himself seriously. Maybe he does nowadays, but I don't think so.
Sammy Hagar takes himself seriously.
Yeah, Ozzy would take a piss at himself, as the Brits would say, all the time. These guys like to have fun. But also, these guys talked about real stuff. When Alice Cooper talked about a serious subject, that wasn't done through the lens of a liberal or conservative. Only When You Bleed is telling a story. Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train. It's actually telling you about a real life Cold War. He's not telling you how to think. He's basically saying this is stupid. We're all riding on a crazy train. I think that's what's missing in music nowadays is you have a broader point of view. When the Stones, Give Me Shelter, that's not waving a middle finger at the United States or Lyndon Johnson or Nixon, whoever. It's saying this is what's happening at this point in time. Give me shelter from this madness. So.
What do you guys think about Blood on the Sun?
I like it. It's a good song. I gotta go back and hear it again, but I remember a little bit of it.
I mean, it's got so many different layers to it, different sections. It's I wish they could have just tightened things up a little bit because it could have been a really solid epic. But
I like that song too.
Yeah,
I like the middle acoustic part.
Yeah, and that lead guitar part, at the end and stuff like that. That's really cool. I mean, my main problem with this album is that it just feels bloated. I mean, they should have just cut 3 songs because I just don't feel, they're as strong as the others. I was also kind of wondering, Bob Ezrin, he's worked with Alice for so long. I wonder if his methods have significantly changed, ever since the 70s. What's this process like now? Are they recording this all live in the studio together, or is it just on tracks separately? How are they doing this now?
I don't have any insight. I wish I knew because look at the people he's worked with. Alice Cooper was his first big one, but he immediately went from that to Lou Reed Berlin, which is a very ambitious album. It's one of the great albums of the 70s. Pink Floyd. He actually worked for the Hanoi Rocks. It surprised me. I mean, I like Hanoi Rocks, but that's not an impressive production. It's a great album for production wise. It's I think he worked with the Deftones. That didn't go too well. He didn't really enjoy that. They didn't enjoy working with him either. He worked on Pink Floyd, The Wall. You know.
Yeah.
Did he record the Alice Cooper band live back in the day?
Yeah.
I mean, live in the same room, they're all tracking together, like Iron Maiden does these days. You know.
They did for Love It to Death and Killer, but that wasn't done because they preferred it that way. That was done out of money and because they had to do quick.
Yeah.
But School's Out, Billion Dollar Babies that he recorded with him, those were done in piecemeal, meaning that Alice would go in and do his vocals last. They would do the songwriting sessions with Bob Ezrin in the room, and then they would go back and re-record bits and pieces, you know, but never together on there. And that's why those albums sound more put together than those early ones. But yeah.
I was just like also curious, like how, like when you've been working with an artist for decades, like as a producer, like how do you find ways to continually challenge them? You know, like just improve, improve their songwriting, improve their performances. Like like do they just like go to dinner and just say, "Hey, I'm doing an album. Do you want to come produce it?" Yeah, sure. And it's just easy as that, or it's like, you know what I mean? Like I'm actually like really actually like fascinated by studio work and how things are done. So that's why I'm just pondering this.
I would
Yeah.
guess that this album, because they've been away so long, they probably worked closely together in the studio. I don't suspect it was track live because there's the guest guitarist that's not a regular Alice guy. It's not Nita Strauss or God, what's the other guy's name? I wrote down his name, who I can't. Josiah Hugh and Rick Tedesco. I think Rick Tedesco is Ezrin guy that he uses for, because Ezrin used to do a lot of jingles, in Canada, because it's a lot of money. But
By the way, hold on before you go. Jimbo just gave us $5 on YouTube. He says, Manny,
Thank you,
Wayne,
Jimbo.
Stan, and Andy, I am enjoying an afternoon beer and enjoying the conversation. Awesome, Andy. Thank you, Jimbo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate
thank you,
it.
Jimbo.
Wow, that's great.
But I'd have to listen to it again, but there's a lot of layers to it, Stan. So I'm sure they were in the same room, but I don't suspect it was recorded live. But I would know for sure. It does have a warm analog sound, but I can't imagine they recorded on tape either. But it does have that warm 70s analog sound with a modern hit to it,
Yeah, I do like the sound of it. It's just very, albeit it's a little too clean for my taste, but it does sound pretty damn good. It sounds like it could fit right into, like, what was the last album they did together?
Muscle of
Love.
Yeah, it could have came right after that. Like it
It really has.
just continue right where they left off.
Yeah.
Yes. Also Bob Ezrin did like those last few Deep Purple albums. They sound really good too.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
How do you guys think this album compares to like the last few Alice records?
This one's definitely better.
This
There's-
is definitely
there's more
better, right?
yeah, There's more songs on it. Like I said, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 or 6 songs I really enjoy, and I
Yeah.
remember them. And I just
Yeah.
checked out Blood on the Sun, and there's a lot of things that remind me of the earlier songs. And I was just reading some of the comments here.
It's a bit
This-
proggy.
Yeah,
Right.
and this one guy says the first 2 minutes and 54 seconds reminds him of Unfinished Suite from Billion Dollar Babies, which I can hear that. And then-
Wow, that's good spotting. Wow,
Yep.
he's right.
And then around 3:23, a reminiscent closing section of Killer from the same album.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the way that Bob Ezrin did this, just to go back to what y'all were talking about, you know what he did with Kiss and Destroyer. He took the band to a whole different level by adding production to it. And the production of this album is totally better than the previous few albums. The previous few albums, it was just to get product out.
Yeah.
This was
That's what
this
the last
made-
Alice Cooper album sound like. That's what they just sound
Yeah.
like, just to put a new album out, just to keep his
right. But this is a statement album.
name.
To say, hey guys, don't forget about us. We were one of the most powerful bands in the '70s, and we still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far did this get on the charts? Does anybody know?
I have no idea, but even if it got to
Oh,
number
yeah.
one, it wouldn't matter because it doesn't take much to get to number one.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
But Andy, you brought something up too, that Alice Cooper, the man in the band. We talked about Black Sabbath, and Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, definitely the cornerstones of what became heavy metal. But so is Alice Cooper. He was there in the beginning. Would Alice be called heavy metal in 2025? Probably not. But 1971, 72, he certainly was, or they certainly were in him. You are right. He's had a big impact on our musical culture that we all like.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to agree with something Stan said, which is giving me a stomach ache. So give me a moment. Stan, I think you are right. If they'd cut like 2 or 3 songs, if they made a crisp 45-minute album, I think it would have flowed better. But that's a minor criticism considering how long they've been away.
It hit number 1 in the UK rock and metal albums, and 72 in the US Billboard 200.
72.
Yeah. That's pretty high. But
another funny thing I wanted to say. This is gonna sound totally ridiculous, but One Night Stand, it reminds me of that song "Secret Agent Man."
Actually, Stan,
if you listen to it again, you'll hear it. You'll know exactly what I'm talking
Stan,
about.
Alice Cooper in the early days claimed they didn't listen to the blues. He said he loved TV show theme songs. You might be onto something, Stan.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
yeah, it's because it got that
kind of
guitar
sounds
thing.
like Secret Agent Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of does have that kind of sound to it, like old rock tune.
It's old rock, yeah. A lot of this is old rock, and but it's fresh. It sounds pretty good.
And they do it well. This is one of I've heard. Of course, I hear a lot of music, but throughout the years, there's been a handful of albums that came out, but this has to be one of the newest favorite albums I've heard in a few years. It really is.
I have to agree with you, and not just because I'm a major Alice Cooper fan. I know that shocks the 3 of you, so try not.
I never even hear you mention Alice Cooper.
I know.
You're just getting on the bandwagon, Manny.
I know, but
because he came out with something new.
I defended Detroit Cities, and I defended what was the one Road. But honestly, I liked them, but it's not that they were interchangeable. They weren't classic.
Yeah.
Alice is a way better songwriter than those albums show. Not only that, I kind of agree because there's a Velvet Underground song on there. I like the Velvet Underground, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to hear Alice singing Velvet Underground. Alice is Alice. I don't want to hear sing Lou Reed lyrics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, for me, I was curious, like, what your favorite song is on the album. For me, I'm going to go with Wild Ones. What about you guys?
I'm going with Wild Ones. Yeah.
Right now, I'm with Blood in the Sun.
It's a good choice. Manny?
I like the way that is.
Well, I love Blood in the Sun, and I like Up All Night and One Night Stand. And the reason I like Up All Night because it made me laugh. It just reminded me of my life sometimes. So
I thought of you instantly when I heard that.
Yeah,
but I thought One Night Stand would remind you of your life.
It does somewhat. My old life. Since I found Jesus, I'm looking for a señorita. Oh, man.
But I do need to say I do like the song Crap Gets in the Way of Your Dreams. I like that story of this of the 60-year-old dude who still lives at home and he plays the guitar.
I
And,
know.
he's still
Great.
dreaming to make it big, and
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. But
He goes,
he's not
maybe
going
I
to give
should
up.
bury my wife.
Yeah.
He doesn't even-
Dude, some of the lyrics on this album are just like so silly.
I know, but they're funny, just like back in the day when he would write funny, interesting songs.
Right, right.
It's the same thing here.
Always
Yeah,
threw some
always
comedy
do.
in. Yep, something
Yeah.
ridiculous. Always.
Yeah, like even schools though with the lyric, we ain't got no class, we ain't got no principles. We can't even think of a word that rhymes.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Uh,
And he wrote the song "Bed of Nails," and at the end of it, he says "ow, ow, ow." Like, come on, like, what do you expect?
Dude, this is the guy that wrote "Prettiest Cop on the Block." I'm the prettiest cop on the block. I handcuff your desires.
But that's his
I'm not a
personality. and
cross-dressing
We love it.
cop. I know, it's hilarious. I just
Yeah.
think,
It is.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it wouldn't be Alice Cooper if he didn't do that stuff. So, it might
Yeah.
some of it might be, like the music that we listen to today. It don't sound like this. This is, you can tell how old these guys are because it's the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
It's the music of their age. That's what they play. So, we're not used to that type of stuff, and getting to hear that again, that kind of is like, oh man, that's kind of weird today. But if you bring yourself back into their age and the 70s when they were big, then you can kind of like get into it.
Yeah, they're not
that's
trying to
right.
fit into today or
No, if they were
today's
trying to write
crowd.
like an album like today, like a really heavy album or something, it wouldn't work. It
No.
wouldn't be them.
No,
No,
it
I
would
mean-
be fake. It would be
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah. Not only that, he's had the band, him and Ezra, and try to sound like a modern band on Welcome to My Nightmare and a couple tracks on there.
Yeah.
And never once have any of us have ever talked about those songs on this
No.
show.
Yeah. Yeah. And look at us with this whole album. We're just, all of us have different opinions about what the good moments are on this album.
Yeah.
So, he did great.
Although
Yeah.
on albums like Brutal Planet and what's the other Dragon Town, he did get
Yeah.
really heavy on those albums, and they were cool. They sounded good, But
Yeah.
Well, that's because the songwriting on those are good. Unlike,
but
I mean-
it just wouldn't work today. It wouldn't.
no, I mean, he's not in that, again, he's not in that same place. Not only that, this is a band, not him solo.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see him here in about 3 more weeks, and I wonder because since I'm seeing him in Rocklahoma, which is going to be a smaller set, I'm sure, but I wonder if he's going to pull out any of these songs. I wonder if any of these guys are going to be on tour with him. Does anybody know about that?
I have no
right.
idea.
Alice has said
Oh.
that he doesn't, Alice says he's not taking them out, but
Yeah.
Michael Bruce probably isn't that interested. I probably, because two of those guys rarely play, Michael Bruce and Neil Smith. Dennis Dunaway could do it because, but I don't know. I mean, if he did, is it going to just bring him out like, 2 or 3 songs? I don't know if in my 70s I'd want to go on tour for 2 or 3 songs,
Yeah, but I wonder if since this is a festival setting, it might be a little
Oh,
different.
yeah.
You know?
Maybe do a little mini set in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll see what happens, but I'm
Well,
excited.
Alice always pulls out 1 or 2 deep tracks. Those bands must be very well rehearsed because when I saw him with Al, I think he did Clones and he did some other semi-obscure song, and I couldn't believe it. I think I was shaking poor Al. Poor Al's like, my God.
That's cool though. You don't when he plays songs you don't expect. I've only saw him. I think I saw him twice. And,
I've seen him
he was
twice,
good both
too.
times. Yeah.
Once he opened up for Motley Crue, for their so-called "Going Goodbye" tour, or whatever the hell it was called, and then opened for Deep Purple, which was a fun show.
Yeah, that show didn't happen over here. The Deep Purple one, Motley Crue, I did, but I didn't go.
Yeah, I went to that.
Yeah. Do you remember they even signed a contract? Motley
Yeah,
Crue? Yeah, that works because when I sign a mortgage, not tear it up, bank goes up. What? You don't have to pay. Whatever. Bunch of dumbasses.
And they haven't made anything to prove that they should have kept going. Their whole recording career after that, it's been nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Three songs, and one of them's a cover.
What, the
What's a
Like a
cover?
Virgin? That was terrible. God, that was bad.
Okay, 4. I forgot about that shit.
Oh, that was oh God.
But it was called Canceled, and
Yeah.
Okay, number 1, Motley Crue. You have no business making any political points about anything. Period. Number 1.
It's over.
Number 2.
It's over.
You guys aren't the Bob Dylan of the glam metal set. So again, no more political points.
No.
And the world was not dying to hear Vince Neil croak through a Beastie Boys song.
Oh my God, I forgot about that crap. That
It was fucking awful. Awful.
I don't know who's giving these guys the green light. Who's
I
telling
don't
them
know.
that's a great idea? We're gonna
I know who. They're
we're gonna
cocaine
light the
dealers.
world on fire.
Yeah. They're sitting around doing blow, and the guy goes, it'd be a good idea, Nicky. What, man? If you did Beastie Boys, when you're on coke, everything sounds brilliant, and they're like, yeah, man, we're like fucking cool, man. The kids will like it, not knowing that the kids that still listen to them are about 50-something years old.
Because it's true, you do have to fight for your right to party. Good idea.
Yeah, 50. You still have to fight for your right to party.
They only have one good album to me. That's it. One good album.
I will go 3, which were the first 3. I love their debut, and I love Shout the Devil, and Theater of Pain was my introduction to Motley Crue when I was 11. So it's a very good album to me.
I like most of their albums, but Generation Swine, they can shove that up their ass. What's the other one? Saints of Los Angeles, that can go right up their ass.
I like that one, but like Al says, that's a lot of 6 a.m. on there as well.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, girls. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. What is the other shit album they had?
They have a lot of them.
New Tattoo. What a steaming pile of shit that is.
Andrew
They
McDonald.
only have 2 good ones: Shout at the Devil and the self-titled one. And that's it.
Oh, I like the one with John Corabi. Good choice.
That's the one. Yeah.
But even if I liked them, I every album, and if I thought every album was brilliant because I lost my hearing, I still wouldn't go see them live because Vince Neil, Jesus H.
I got high. I was high.
Andrew McDonald said the second last time he saw Alice in Australia, he did My Stars and Raped and Freezing.
Jesus, look at that. That's deep cuts as it gets. Yeah. My God, dude.
Sometimes I look at Vince Neil and I'm like, man, that guy's out of shape. Maybe I can get on stage. Maybe I can do this.
If he can do it, anybody can.
Yeah.
He's terrible. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Any other words about this Alice Cooper album? I mean, everybody should go buy it. I think you like Alice Cooper, you like the 70s stuff, go out and go get this album because you'll like it. And don't listen to other people online.
Dude's still killing it.
Yep.
Yeah, he did a good job.
100 years later, he's still killing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, I'm close to 100, motherfucker. Anyway, so
what?
I'm going to take a quick break and come back for Van Halen.
All right. Any word about Howard Stern being canceled off the Sirius XM?
Is that a true story?
I believe so. I
just don't think that they're going to renew his contract.
Why? Is he too expensive? Is he too expensive or something?
He just finished off $100 million contract.
Yeah,
nobody deserves that much money.
$100 million,
especially Howard Stern.
I know. Well, Alice does because Alice has brought much joy to my life. So give him that money. But
I've never really heard Howard Stern. I would hear clips here and there, and I think
he's actually a good interviewer nowadays.
Very good interviewer.
Yeah,
as he got older.
Yeah, but I don't care either way. I don't.
I've never listened to him at all. I always thought he was an asshole.
It's a cool story because
Hmm.
it's what
Yeah,
are
it's
they
a
gonna
cool
do?
story of what he came up from, but
Right? Yeah.
he's
I
just
like
never.
I liked the movie. The movie was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
there
I
was
like now picks like that.
No.
It could have been
Uh,
any DJ would have been cool.
Jimbo says Motley Crue '94 is an album that has grown on him.
I gave up on
yeah,
it.
I like that album a lot. But you know what else grows on you? Fungus. All right, I'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, guys. We'll be back
right.
in like 5 minutes or so with the
Yeah.
Van Halen album. So
All right.
thank you again for everybody for watching this show, and we'll see you in a little bit. All right. Hit that
All right.
subscribe. And again,
Later.
thanks, Jimbo, for that little cash you gave us there. I really appreciate it. All right. Have a good night. See you in a bit. Bye.